of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. Now I never been down with no OPP. I talking about selling our people's property. Don't know who doing it, so don't round me out. Don't send no police round me and tell me shush my mouth. Where's our conviction? But where's our pride? We selling everything, selling our backside. Just go online, it'll make you sick. You can buy any island, just point and click. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. Ride him. My mother always say, when you find a donkey, ride it. Come on. We got a whole nation in 73. Now we getting back the whole country. What kind of fools we must be, selling out for a bag of rice and a cup of tea. You know what does bug me? Help me understand. I can't find piece of property for under 80 grand, but I can fix this. I know what to do. I can squat just like them other people try make me do. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. I get everybody sell some every day. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country. Yes, yes. They're selling our land. They're selling.
New Providence will soon get a new hospital. This as government revealed the China Import-Export Bank is expected to fund a $290 million loan at an interest rate of 2% to build a new 50-acre medical facility off New Providence Highway. It's the same bank that financed a multi-billion-dollar Baha Mar resort. Now, the hospital has received lots of pushback by residents, and some expressed concern about traffic, noise, pollution, and property values. Now, during our monthly sit-down interview with RF Bank and Trust Vice President and Group Head of Investment, David Slatter, he says while the 2% interest rate may be attractive to government, there is much more to consider.
There's no free lunch, right? Everything comes with some other caveats and what should I say, issues attached. And one of them will be, how much of the labor will be Bahamian and how much will be Chinese. If we see what happened at Baha Mar, we see it happen at the Point and British Colonial, or the stadium, the vast majority will be Chinese. I know the minister mentioned that the majority will be Bahamian, but I really, seeing that this is the model that the Chinese government uses, right? We'll do a project, finance at a very low rate, use the China Import-Export Bank to do the financing, China Construction Company to do the construction, and really from the Chinese government standpoint, it's a labor export opportunity. So how do we get our people employed, keep them employed? Well, have somebody abroad finance a project and we'll provide them with the labor to do it. So it's going to be a challenge, in my opinion, for the government to really live up to that promise that the majority of the people on the ground will be Bahamian. I just don't see that happening. And, you know, one of the key things with any project like this is the transfer of knowledge. So when you look at Atlantis and you look at the 90s, what happened there, a lot of the labor, a lot of the people doing the work were Bahamian, and there was a tremendous transfer of knowledge to the Bahamian workforce. If you looked at some of the construction techniques at Atlantis, whether it was the wall works or the techniques that were new to the Bahamas, suddenly you saw those same skills being applied all over the island.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, welcome, welcome. It's always a pleasure to have you here. It is Sunday, the 19th of May, and it is 2024. And as I said, it's always a pleasure to have you here with us to educate the Bahamian people and find out what's really going on in this country. So thank you for tuning in from wherever you're tuning in from around the world. Welcome. And we're going to get straight to it tonight. Let me put your comments up there so you can see yourselves and what you're saying. From all the different platforms, we're broadcasting live from Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. So all of these platforms, a lot of people like to watch it on YouTube so that they could watch it on their TVs. I'll put it up on the screen in a second. And so watch it from wherever you can. And it's from the Lincoln Bain page, the Bahamian Evolution page, and the Coalition of Independence page. And so you can watch it from all of these platforms. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have an interesting one tonight. We're going to talk about this so-called hospital that they're going to build. And so as you can see, my description for this video is what hospital? And I'm serious with that. I don't know what hospital they're talking about, but we're going to let you know the real truth about this so-called hospital. And it's going to be shocking to a lot of you. A lot of you would not have heard this, but make sure you're seated for this conversation. It's a real conversation. So you know what to do when you get on here. You know that the media doesn't want the truth to come out. The government doesn't want the truth to come out. So you have to do your part. What can you do? Make sure share this live, and also click at followers. Type at followers and at highlight to make sure that all of your supporters are able to see this. Because people aren't getting the notifications anymore. More than 90% of my 31,000 followers are not getting the notifications, so they don't know when I go live. So you know what to do. Type at followers and type at highlight. Both of them. At followers you can do once a day. At highlight you can do once a week. And that will make sure that everyone knows what is going on, that we are here. We're talking about this hospital today, but we're talking about a little bit more than that. We're talking about our country on the whole, but we're going to really highlight this hospital and what's going on with that. Because if we don't get this together, our children, our future, and everything is in trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started with the show today, I want to put a simple definition up here for you, and then we're going to get started. And that is this. That's this definition: failed state. A failed state is a country whose government is considered to have failed at some of its basic responsibilities. For example, keeping the legal system working correctly, we have a problem with that. And providing public services, we have a serious problem with that. That is electricity, water, education, hospitals, etc. And so the Bahamas can be fairly classified at this point as a failed state. We can't keep the electricity working properly. We are having rolling blackouts right now. We had a governor of California who was removed as governor because of rolling blackouts. Our water is off. But in Harbor Island, there's a video with a young lady, I'll play it later, where they're saying that the water has been off for almost a week and they have no hope in sight. And this is happening in other places in the Bahamas. Our education system is failing. we had one hospital that was built in 1953 by the UBP government, and now we have another that's not going to be ready. But let's talk about all of this. The Bahamas is officially and effectively a failed state. There are persons in the Prince Charles area right now who have no water, and we don't know when they're going to get the water back on. The message from the government is that they'll update you again at around 10 o'clock or so. But there's no water in the Prince Charles area, and electricity is going to be rolling. So some of those persons will have no water and no electricity. Okay, good. We see the numbers rolling, getting up higher as people are doing their ad highlights and ad followers. We've got 1,325 people all of our platforms put together right now. All right, so make sure continue to put your ad followers, ad highlights, do your part. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking with two powerful women who have been dealing with this issue. We're going to be talking to Dr. Veronica McIver, who has been in the medical field for a very long time and has a lot of knowledge as it relates to the medical field. We're also going to be talking to Maria Daxon, who's been an activist, championing the cause of the medical field. The hospital and everything that has been going on with the people, the patients, and the staff in this country. I have a statement that I'm going to read first, and then we're going to get right to it as we discuss this information. As leader of the Coalition of Independence, I stand firmly against the proposal to place a $290 million specialty hospital in the residential areas of Sanford Drive, Chippenham, and Rock Crusher. This ill-conceived decision will bring numerous negative impacts to these communities, which deserve thoughtful consideration and transparency. First and foremost, placing a large hospital in a residential area will lead to significant disruptions for the local residents. Increased traffic congestion, noise pollution, and the constant movement of emergency vehicles will erode the quality of life for those living nearby. Further, during a future pandemic, residents could face having infected persons migrating to their community to seek medical assistance. These communities will suffer from the stress and inconvenience of having a major medical facility in their midst, reducing property values and overshadowing the supposed benefits of the hospital. Furthermore, this project, a campaign promise by the current administration, will not be completed within their term. The government has estimated that it will take at least 36 months to complete this project. Yet the next election is in 28 months or less. Given that it took 2 years just to renovate the still incomplete accident emergency at PMH, we have little faith that this new hospital will be finished within the promised timeline. The Minister of Health has even admitted that although a loan from the Chinese has been announced by the government, it has not yet been negotiated or signed. That sounds like deception to me. It is also important to clarify that this so-called specialty hospital is actually a maternity clinic, not a full-service hospital. This means that the overcrowding issues at PMH will remain unresolved, as the new facility will not cater to patients with non-communicable diseases or other serious health conditions. Meanwhile, Bahamian nurses continue to leave the country due to unresolved issues such as pay, benefits, and working conditions, leading to severe manpower shortage. While the government refuses to give a suitable salary to nurses, it has no problem hiring foreigners or foreign nurses and giving them housing, retention bonuses, and other benefits that could have been given to our nurses in salaries instead, to encourage them to stay. There's also a disturbing concern that the chosen site for the hospital could be owned by political cronies who stand to benefit from the sale of the land. Interesting to note is that the government is securing over 50 acres of land for the project, but only using about 2.5 acres for the project. It's very interesting. Expansion cannot be the reason for this large acquisition because much of the land in question outside of the building is protected land. The government has vast amounts of land in the southwestern area of New Providence that could be used for this project, yet they claim these areas are too low-lying. However, there are suitable commercial areas on higher ground, such as next to the Fusion Superplex on Gladstone Road. Additionally, if the government is concerned about low-lying areas, they could build a parking garage on the lower level with the hospital above it. Placing the hospital on Gladstone Road would also address the imbalance of having two hospitals on the northern side of New Providence, while most of the population resides on the southeastern and southwestern parts of New Providence. The decision to borrow $290 million from the Chinese is unnecessary and short-sighted. When we have natural resources and carbon credits that could be used to finance this and other projects. Attorney General Ryan Pinder says that the government will be collecting $900 million yearly in carbon credits. So then why are we borrowing for this project? This is not to mention the 11.37 billion in blue carbon bonds that was issued to the Bahamian government in 2022. This government's lack of vision and pervasive corruption will likely result in another 4 years of construction to complete this so-called hospital, followed by an additional 5 years for a real hospital to be completed elsewhere. This means another decade of inadequate healthcare services for Bahamians, leading to more unnecessary suffering and preventable deaths. While the government boasts about renovating clinics across the country, this is neither new nor exceptional. Every administration has done this, and it does not guarantee improved services. It only guarantees contracts for cronies and kickbacks for politicians. Many patients will still need to be airlifted to New Providence for serious health issues, exacerbating the strain on our already overburdened healthcare system. In conclusion, the proposed location for the specialty hospital is unsuitable, the timeline unrealistic, and the financial strategy misguided. The Coalition of Independents urges the government to reconsider this decision and prioritize the health and well-being of all Bahamians by addressing the real issues plaguing our healthcare system. The last hospital built by the government was in 1953. This is shameful. We need a real hospital. Our people deserve better, and we will continue to fight for a more equitable and effective health care solution. End. Ladies and gentlemen, we need real change in this country. I'm going to introduce to you two ladies that are powerful, two ladies that I highly respect and love, and two ladies that are ready to do what they can to make sure that the healthcare system in this country is transformed and help us move one step to moving from the status of failed state. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Dr. Veronica McIver and Maria Daxon.
Good night, Mr. Bain. How are you?
Probably. Good evening, ladies. How are you all doing tonight?
I'm doing
Good night.
fine. Hello to Miss Daxon. Good evening. Good evening to everyone in Digital Land. I'm happy to be here to co-host.
Awesome.
Good
And it's
night.
great to have all of you. So we're gonna have a serious conversation about this. Like Maria, I know that you have You have been fighting for the hospitals. Everyone remembers some of your escapades from Dr. Minnis was in power, the last F&M administration. Remind us about some of that. Why do you think it's important, and where? I mean, what is it that you were doing back then?
Good night, my fellow Bahamians. It's a pleasure to be here on this live with Mr. Bain and Dr. McIver. And I'm here to remind the Bahamian people that I was receiving calls from the patients and the workers who had worked and who had attended the PMH. And I have several issues that the workers about. They were complaining about the molds, the water damage, the rats, the roaches, the filthy air condition, the floor not properly clean, and they also complained about the roof that was leaking, and they had issues doing their work properly. And I have been in the front of the hospital so much times, I cannot even count on my hands. And then the patients were complaining about the same thing. They were complaining about some of the nurses, especially they said who was working overtime, that they were frustrated and they were not getting the proper help that they need. They complain about the lack of medication, the lack of beds, the lack of equipment. They complain about the long wait in order to see a doctor. It was so much until I had petitioned this new day PLP government to build a new hospital. There were mothers that were dying in childbirth. There were children, young babies that were dying in that hospital, unexplained deaths.
Wow.
And so I was receiving so much calls on a weekly basis saying, Ms. Daxon, we need you to address this situation. And even some of the men were complaining about not getting treatment for their prostate cancer, and some of them on the kidney machine. The kidney machine wasn't working for a very long time, and there were a lot of patients who were getting frustrated by the process. Even person had complained to me about the eye doctor not being in place. The machines are not working. Every sector of that hospital I have received complaints about. Even the morgue, the condition of the morgue, with some of the fridge not working inside the morgue. The pharmacies were calling and saying lack of medication. It was bad, and that is one of the reasons why I had petitioned this government to build a general hospital. I did not expect a hospital just for the women. When I look at their plans, they're only catering to the women. But what about the men? Where are the men voices in this country who's going to stand up and say, what about us? What this government is going to put in place.
So Maria, I remember you even Maria, you even got locked up fighting for the situation with the hospital. I remember that we stood out in front of that station and we had to give the government hell until they let you out.
Yes.
So I want to thank you for your activism as it relates to that. Dr. McIver, you also did some investigations at the Princess Margaret Hospital, and we'll touch on that before we get to this new hospital and what we've discovered. But what did you discover when you went there? What information have you gotten about that and the Rand Memorial Hospital, and what's going on there?
Let me say this: the Princess Margaret Hospital demolished. I'm saying that in a nice way, not in a bad way. As you know, in 1999, there was a report given to that would have been the F&M would have been in power at the time. And that report said that the hospital should be demolished. Now, when you consider, this is 2024 years later, and not to be dramatic, but it was, let's see, PLP, F&M, PLP, F&M, PLP, for 6 cycles since that. Neither mainstream party saw fit to demolish that building. Now, governments are not listening to the Bahamian people about the state of that hospital. And what is so surprising to me is these experts to give these reports, and yet they are not following the report. It makes sense to me. So why would you get an expert to tell you what you need and then you still don't do it?
Yeah.
There's a shortage of staff at the Princess Margaret Hospital. That I had a problem with is, of course, you have the shortage of medication, like Ms. Daxon said. They have a shortage in that hospital. And the most important thing that bothered me, that the maintenance of the machines that they need for diagnostic procedures, like the machine that helps with removal of kidney stones, that was done. As Maria said, the people can't even get an appointment to have an eye year out. This is not good. This is not good. That and explain why I was so disappointed in this.
We lost you for a second there. Can you repeat what you said?
Go ahead.
You said that's why.
Which part?
That's why when you start to. You said that's why when you start to.
Is that about?
Just the last sentence.
You mean about? Oh no, that's why I said that's why when I heard about this specialty hospital, I was really concerned for what services they're going to offer. Knowing what we truly need, it will not suffice. But like you said, you want to speak about the specialty hospital later. So I will wait until you get there. But I am disappointed with the Princess Margaret Hospital as it exists. It should be demolished. It is not fit for human beings to be in at this present time. But we have to make do with what we have until we can get some new voices in there to make changes. That's the way I see it.
Well, I will say this. So everything everything that the three of us have said points to the fact that we need a new hospital. I think that's what the government is saying. Well, we need a new hospital. Why are you all complaining? And so I think that takes us to the next part of this, where we need to talk about this so-called new hospital that I just spoke about in the intro. I'll start with you, Maria. They're calling this a new hospital. They're building this in a residential area. I mean, how do you actually feel about this? I know people have said that this isn't going to help. You know, this is just a maternity situation. We still gonna be stuck on gurneys and A&E. We still gonna have the hospital overflowing and run down, and this doesn't help. How do you feel?
Lincoln, what I feel is that the government of the Bahamas should have a meeting with the doctors, all right, first, uh, with the nurses and the civil leaders, like persons like myself and Dr. McIver and other civil leaders, to hear what we have to say. Because remember, uh, some persons don't like to speak to the government. They use me, you, Dr. McIver, and they use other people to speak to the government. They should have come to us and say, hey, this is our proposal. What do you think? Not they went out there, did this whole hospital, and then come to us and throw this plan on us. This is unacceptable in this country. We need to look at this as a Bahamian thing, as the people. We need to have a say on what's happening in this country. The location,
Yeah.
me personally, Lincoln, I feel the location is a good location because they talk about the environmental issues. Because if you recall, I wanted it to go on Gladstone Road, and they said that they did an
Yes.
environment study, and the is too low of a line. I understand what the residents of that area is saying, but Lincoln, both you and I were police officers, and that zoo nightclub that used to be there all night making all kind of noise. And what I'm saying is that the hospital, the only time you're gonna hear some noise is when the ambulance is going in, and that's something that this government could try to alleviate. What I mean, alleviate the sound, because they took a long time before they built this hospital. And back then, if they had built a hospital 20 years ago, we wouldn't have had all these residential areas built up the way it's built up. And if you recall, Lincoln,
Well, let's unpack that for a second, then we'll go to Dr. McIver. Let's unpack that for a second. We
yeah,
talk about the low line, the land being low. Knowing the
right,
PLP government, I don't trust a word that comes out of their mouth. I don't believe
okay,
them unless they were willing to provide us with that. And notice they have
right,
not provided us with that. And that's the problem I have with them. I don't trust them. They have not shown themselves to be transparent or truthful on a lot of other issues since they've come to power. They are saying that the land where they are now is 7 to 14 feet above sea level. The land in the Gladstone area, which I know far too well, is about the same thing. You have
okay,
Blair Estates that's over 20 feet above sea level. You can't really tell from the way it is, but when I say that, I mean Little Blair, which isn't far from Montague Beach. I think that they are doing that as a cover because they want to use this specific land. Um, and if the area in Gladstone Road South is too low, you can then have the first floor as a parking lot or a double
oh,
parking lot, and that would
okay,
that would give you that would give you the height that you need to make sure that the hospital is safe. You just have to use ingenuity. All right.
okay,
And so they are making excuses. The height of the land doesn't affect this when you have solutions. Also, you can use the land on the northern part of Gladstone Road, all right, which is in the area of Fusion, because all of that area is industrial. That has these wholesale places and all that. That'll be closed in the night. But there's some vacant land right next to the Fusion movie theater that they could use. And they have more than enough land. The building is only covering, the building space is only 2.56 acres. All right. They could easily get, 50 acres in that area that I'm talking about. And that would give them the land that they need. Remember when you drive past Fusion on JFK headed west? When you drive past that, all of the area you're driving past is what? Hills. So you got some of, and that, the hill there, the old, what do you call that? The old road that they have now closed. Remember, there was a high hill there that was probably almost as high as Hawkins Hill. And so they're making excuses, all right? Because if you look at the Google Maps, you will see that there's more than enough green area in that space that they could use to actually do this stuff. All right. And if they don't own the land, they could buy it. I believe they are trying to get the specific land that they're getting because of who owns the land. And that's what we need to pay attention to. Who is going to benefit from the sale of that land? Land in that area is purported to be
right.
owned by
So
Frankie Wilson.
But yes, it's alleged
land
that
in that area is purported to be owned by Frankie Wilson. All right.
Oh, yes, Lincoln.
Right.
Lincoln, you forgot
right.
I was on the land?
Yes.
I did a video.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember you did a video right around there.
Lincoln, I was told that
has the land again is purported to be owned by Frankie Wilson and them. They're trying to control that land. Other persons also are plugged in there. But now you have to ask the question, be transparent and show us if that is the case. Who are you getting this land from and why are you so hell-bent on selling this piece of land? And a lot of that land is, again, like the minister said in the town hall meeting, it's protected. All right? So if the land is protected, you can't expand. You're stuck. So go ahead, Dr. McIver, you're trying to talk. Go ahead, Dr. McIver.
Oh, yeah, okay. To both of you, and what I'm hearing, again, a portion of it allegedly is owned by Franklin Wilson. And then a portion of, so a lot of it they cannot use. So I'm not sure why they are purchasing it. If the portion of it. So that's the part that's a little bit confusing, But nevertheless, let me talk about when I first heard that we were getting I was just like every other Bahamian. I was like, hello, for once. I was so happy for my people to be getting a hospital. But as I did my investigation,
you're breaking up. I
found out that this was like a specialty hospital. So the first thing that came to my mind was,
Dr. McIver, your internet is breaking up. We're not getting you smoothly.
If I come a little closer?
No, we couldn't hear you.
Can you?
From the beginning, you were in and out. You were breaking up. I think your internet is weak.
Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes.
Wow. I don't know what else to do.
Okay, just talk. Just how you are
interfering with it. I don't know. In and out. So you could stop me whenever you don't hear me.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I'm a little closer to the microphone. I don't know if that'll help a little bit.
No, it's a video.
Like I said, I was so happy when I heard that we were getting a hospital. I was just like elated until I.
Yes, you're good.
Are we having issues with the transmission?
Yeah, so maybe I don't know if you're on your
Hello?
phone. I don't know if you're on your phone data
Can you hear me?
or if you're on the land internet. Are you on your phone data or on the land internet?
I believe I'm on the LAN. I usually have both turned on. So if one isn't working, the usually do. Can you hear me now,
Yes.
or if I move,
Yeah, we can hear you now.
if
Go
I
ahead.
move this and bring this closer to me? Okay, is it a little?
No, that won't make a difference.
It wouldn't make a
No, that
difference because
doesn't
if I
change
hold
the
it.
internet.
Oh wow. Okay.
No. So maybe try just signing. I don't know if you can hear
Now
me.
for me.
Try try signing out and put it on your phone data. The internet might be better than your LAN if a lot of people are on it. So try signing out, make sure it's on your phone, and then sign back in, and we'll bring you back in, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Bain,
Yes, go ahead.
while Dr. McIver is trying to get back onto this live, we need to find out this new day PLP government, how much money of that 290 million is going to the person who owned the land. So Frankie the Snake Wilson owned the land. How much is this government going to pay for all this acre of land? The taxpayers have a right to know who owned the land, how much the government is going to pay for this land, and whether the monies are going to come out of the 290 million that was allocated to build this hospital. We don't know if it's two separate bills, whether the government purchasing this land from Frankie the Snake or whether this land is included in this 290 million. These are some
Yes.
questions that this new day PLP government need to tell the Bahamian people.
Yes.
Okay.
All
So
right, Dr. McIver is back, and you look clearer now, so it should be good.
okay. I changed to my data, so I don't know if that makes a difference. But what I was saying earlier was that when I heard that there was a hospital being built, I started to say I was elated just like any other Bahamian because I know that this is what we needed, my people needed. So I was elated. But then when I started to dig deeper and find out, what was going to be in the hospital, my elation turned to disappointment because I found out that it was a specialty hospital. So if it was a specialty hospital, perhaps if it was like a cancer treatment center, or perhaps if it was a kidney or dialysis data center, treatment center, it might have been more palatable for me. But when I found out that it was maternal and for child and adolescent, I was disappointed. Let me tell you why. Now, I don't get me wrong. I don't want the people to get me wrong. Anytime you're expanding infrastructure in healthcare, that's a good thing. But you have to use vision and put your money to bring value. What I find is that for maternal, it means that children are being born, they go for delivery. When children come to the hospital, the parents would bring them. They either have a fever, a cold, or a flu, or something like that. Think about it. Those children would get medication and probably go back home. So what I'm saying is that basically this hospital is for healthy people. When a woman goes in to have her child, basically she's walking in the hospital healthy. And it's a wonderful experience. She's going to have a child, and she'll probably leave within 24 or 48 hours.
Great
The
point.
same thing with children. Children, when they go in, generally, children are healthy individuals. Very rarely do they need to be hospitalized. We need this hospital for the sick in our nation. And they're putting all of this money into this specialty hospital and it's not going to help the sick people. I have a major problem with that part of it. And so now what they propose to do, right, is when the space is available, let's say they take the maternity out of the main hospital. When they take that out, they're saying that they're going to renovate those spaces so that they have more beds for the sick. But we just established that that building needs to be demolished. Why are you investing more money? Why are you investing more money into a building that you know needs to be demolished? That is the part that I have problem with. We are not getting value for our money. And another thing I wanted to say, the FNM, they wanted to build a specialty hospital or a tower on the Princess Margaret site during their last term. Now listen to this. They never did it, right? Talk is cheap. No. But the fee for doing that tower was supposed to be $55 million. How come this same tower, slightly different because you have different architects, why is it costing $290 million? That's what I would like to know.
That's the question of the day.
Why is there a big difference? If the FNM was going to be $55 million for their first tower, because what the FNM planned to do, they were going to knock down one section at a time and build it up. But again, these are all promises, and nobody is doing anything about it. So I said, I believe that the PLP is rushing to do this specialty hospital, trying to appeal to the Bahamian people, because in their blueprint, they promise a hospital, right? They didn't deliver.
Yes.
So I feel as if this is a desperate move to try to appeal to the Bahamian people to say, hey, see, we're doing something. But actually, no, I think it's too much money being spent for what I consider to be healthy people. And that's why earlier, when I gave my audio, Mr. Bain, I said it was a glorified clinic, even though I know it is in the category of a specialty hospital, but because a lot of people will not be staying in there for like weeks at a time, like how you would have at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Someone can go in with a kidney ailment and they can be in there for weeks. Whereas this hospital is pretty much almost considered outpatient, even though there will be cases where you may have them stay overnight. But it's generally not a hospital where you're going to get long stays. So let's establish that. And Mr. Bain, if you'll just give me 1 minute so I can let the Bahamian people know who's not familiar with the hospital, can I just go over some of the wards and the departments that exist?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So I wrote it down. So in a major hospital, comprehensive hospital, you tend to have what they call about 12 or 13 wards. A ward is where people will go in and if they're sick, they will stay in the hospital. So you have the medical ward, which is the male medical. All of us have visited family in female medical. Then you have the surgical ward, which is the male surgical. And then you have the female surgical. You have the intensive care unit at a comprehensive hospital. That's a matter of life and death for people. That's what we really need. We do not need a specialty hospital where people come in who are well. You then in a comprehensive hospital, you have the cardiac care unit, you have the neurology ward, you have the oncology, which is the cancer ward, and of course you're familiar with the orthopedic ward. So if you get into a car accident, you have a broken leg or an arm, these are the people that will treat you. And then you have an infectious disease ward. So if you have TB or COVID, they can isolate you. And then a last ward would be rehabilitation ward. This is where you go for physical rehabilitation, occupational and speech therapy. And the list goes on. And let me go over just before to clarify. There are many other departments in a major hospital that we need. You have the pharmacy department. I mentioned the surgery department, anesthesiology department. You have the cardiology department that deals with heart, neurology department. I mentioned the oncology and the orthopedic department, which is different from the orthopedic ward. You have the gastroenterology that deals with your stomach and your intestines, the nephrology department that deals with kidney problems. And we have a lot of men who use our urology department at the Princess Margaret Hospital. A lot of them can't even get service on time. And then you have the dermatology department that deals with the skin. So just bear with me, I'm almost to the end. I just want to emphasize how many departments is not at this specialty hospital. Then you have the pathology department, the physiotherapy department, and then the nutrition and dietetics. Now, let me say this. In all honesty, at the specialty hospital, they are going to be including a few more things, like they want to put the blood bank there. They want to have some imaging like x-rays, but that's normal. You even have x-ray machines in a clinic. They talked about telemedicine where they could have some computers, and then I heard they may put the morgue there, but no matter which way you cut the mustard, it is a hospital, the specialty hospital is not dealing with 90% of the problems we have in the Bahamas with sick people. It's dealing basically with healthy women who go in to have their babies. And if a woman go to have a pap smear, she's healthy, she gets a pap smear and she leaves. Children are basically healthy. So that's the point I wanted to make. So
now,
if they had, yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to do the numbers based on what you're saying, according to the focus of this $300 million that we're going to spend. I want to do the numbers. So basically, between 5,000 and 6,000 persons are born every year. So if you take it up to the 6,000, that means that you're probably seeing an average of between 13 to 16 persons a day in terms of persons having babies. All right.
Yes.
Probably on babies being born on a daily basis. So that's 13 to 16 if it's 5 to 6,000 if you divide that by 365. So that's a small, minute amount. Now, according to the government's own documentation that they actually release, I'll pull up their documentation for you. Let me pull this documentation up so the Bain people can see what the government had to say. If you look at this document that I have on the screen now, it says that approximately 100,000 persons use the service of PMH annually. All right, and if you divide that by 365, that's 274 persons that they see on a daily basis that are in the care of the hospital. About 13 to 16 of them are to do with this maternity. And the rest of it, about 260 or so, is other patients in A&E, in the wards, et cetera, et cetera. So the math doesn't make sense. The math doesn't add up in terms of priority. I'm not saying that we shouldn't take care of the maternity ward, et cetera, et cetera. There's a marvelous, marvelous neonatal ward, got to give credit, at the hospital right now. The maternity area, of course, we need everything to be the way it should be, but we need to focus on an entire full hospital that focus on the full man. So with those numbers, it's very curious why their priority makes sense. I also wanted to show you guys from this documentation what the government is really doing. This is the slides that they presented. I had this slide before we went there. Someone leaked this out to me. So I could go over this because they were very disappointed with this. I want to show you, I'm going to go to page 27. This is the site, but I'm going to go to page 27, guys. And here you can see that this project, they said the construction is expected to take 30 to 36 months to build. All right. So you could squash that 30 easily. But 36 months to build. They took 2 years or so, and a half years, to renovate, more than 2.5 years. It's been about 3 years they've been renovating A&E. All right. So if you took this same amount of time just to renovate A&E and it's still not completed because they started renovating A&E under Minister administration. If you took that time for renovations, how long are you going to take to build this hospital? That is the question. And so the biggest thing that I revealed at that town hall meeting was that election is in 28 months or less. It must be called. And so this hospital, they are saying 36 months, which we know is going to mean 4 or 5 years, not 3 years. And so they are admitting that this hospital is not going to be complete in this term. So they're admitting that they have failed on one of their promises. So they are not going to get this complete. So they should not be bragging about like this is something good they're doing. They are failing at doing this. So they're going to start this and then say to the Bahamian people, give us some more time. The next thing I wanted to bring to the Bahamian people is that I asked Dr. Davel, I said, Dr. Davel, the government is bragging about this deal that is now closed. He said he could only bring the deal now because it's closed. He said if the deal wasn't closed, he couldn't bring it. Remember him saying that? Because you don't really have a project. So y'all remember him saying that. And so I asked him, I said, but is the deal signed? And I saw his whole countenance drop, and he had to say, no, it's not signed. So if the deal isn't signed, why is the newspaper blaring in the headlines that the deal has been struck with the Chinese and making it seem like it's done? It's not even been negotiated, because now he's saying they're going to negotiate for Bahamian labor and they're going to negotiate for this and that. It's not been negotiated or signed. It's not like someone had a phone conversation with someone and now they're running to go and announce it. Like when the hotel was sold, I think it's 2 or 3 times now.
Right.
The hotel was sold and then it was sold.
Right.
And so this is a problem. It's like they are deceiving the Bahamian people, and it's all fluff and PR in order to make themselves look good. Maria, how you feel about that?
I think so. I agree with you, Mr. Bain. I want this hospital. But when you bring to our attention that this hospital is going to take 36 months to build, that's 3 years, Mr. Bain. And I was like, I thought this hospital was going to be finished by next year. So that means the problems is going to still be there for another 3 years. This PLP
Even after the 3 years, we still have the same problems that we have with A&E and the regular hospital right now.
Right, Maria.
After this is complete, nothing changes.
Right, Maria, it's going to be the same hospital. The Princess Margaret Hospital will basically remain the same. And Lincoln, you mentioned about construction. This is a good time to let persons who are not at, hold on. This was, Lincoln, it's a good time to bring up the modular unit that I mentioned at the town hall meeting, because a lot of our viewers were not there. Right. And I said to Dr. Vardavel, please be transparent and honest and accountable, because modular units were started at the Princess Margaret Hospital and at the RAN. And they were incomplete. And then, remember, I told him it went to arbitration. And then he tried to explain why it went to arbitration. And I asked him, can you give the Bahamian people the value that you spent on those modular units? And remember, he said to me, no, he can't, but he can direct me to someone who can. Right. Well, let me say this, Dr. Davo, I'm not sure if you're being truthful to me, because what I found out, now it's been alleged that Dr. Davo took those modular units away from the PHA, and I was told, allegedly, that he single-handedly wanted to handle the construction of those modular units. So if you single-handedly wanted to take over that control of that, you should have known how much money was spent of the taxpayers' money. And it was and it's incomplete. And another thing that I want to ask Dr. Davel, I'm putting him on the spot. I was advised that when they came into government, a lot of health contracts allegedly did not go to tender, and allegedly he gave it to his cronies. And I understand that some of those contracts are still incomplete today. So I am going to put this out to the PLP government and to Dr. Darwell. Myself and the Bahamian people would like to know how many contracts you personally gave out without tender, and what was the cost of each one, and let us know if they are, which ones are complete and which ones are incomplete. And the ones that are incomplete, that's a waste of taxpayers' money. That's what I want to know. You can go ahead, Mr. Bain.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. You
Mr.
sound
Bain?
like Maria. Want them to give.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
They need to give an account
Okay.
for the taxpayers' money. We're tired.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And something else I wanted to show you.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get table in the people's house.
Yes.
Huh?
Look at this, guys. This is their documentation. They're showing the site here. And the site shape's so funny. If you look at this site carefully, there's this area. This is the New Providence Highway. This is the highway from the six-legged roundabout that leads to Sanders Beach. This is the light that would lead to Sanford Drive. So this is Sanford Drive area here. And so this is where the front of the hospital, they're only using this front, where this triangle is the hospital. So only this little piece right here is where the hospital is going to be. All the rest of this is land that they are acquiring. All the rest of this. So if you can see that documentation there, they said the site is approximately 50 acres, 50.03 acres. All right? But the proposed square footage is 111,543 square foot. And I think they did that in different units because they didn't want you to understand what was going on. 111 square feet is only 2.5 acres. All right? Because an acre is about 43,560 or something around there square feet. So this is only 2.56 acres. As you can see the little triangle there, that's where the hospital is going to be, right to the road, as you saw the drawings that they did. And all of the rest of this land they buying up from somebody. And we need to know who and why. That makes absolutely no sense. Again, you see the hospital here, it's to the road. And all this land, even this little piece to the end here. Why this little piece sticking out here? It has a tail. Why are you buying all of that land? They're showing the projected site.
Exactly.
All of it. Why are you buying all of that land right now? This is like, see, look at the hospital. The front is where the hospital is going to be. And all the rest of the back here is empty. Why are you buying all this land? This doesn't add up to the Bahamian people. And so we got to think about all of this. Because I don't trust this administration.
Listen, we've always had that problem. They're not transparent. Even when the procurement bill was passed, like I said, they did not follow the Procurement Act. Oops, sorry, my phone started to fall. They did not follow the Procurement Act. Things are going out to tender and it's not being fair. I don't know. Listen, we need change. Hey, listen, everybody watching, we need change in this country. And change gotta come because this ain't adding up.
Yeah.
They got to be joking.
Something else I want to turn attention to because of a statement that was made. And it was the only statement of contention that me and the minister had at that town hall meeting. And I'm going to open the phone line soon. But he said that it's going to cause property values to go up. He said that you spend $290 million in any area and the property value is going to go up. So That means that if you spend $290 million and build a dump, a recycling center and a dump, the property value is going to go up. It's not the money; it's what what you're bringing does to the community, and the sound pollution, the risk when
Exactly.
you have a pandemic, other stuff is what the
He
problem
said
is.
the
And he
property
told me,
value will go. Mhm.
yes, he
I
said
can
it will
already hear
go
you.
up, and I told him that that's not the case
But you
around
told
the
him they will
world.
go down. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
and I told him that based on studies that I have done,
Yes.
and I've seen that everywhere, every time they rarely put a hospital in a residential area or next to it, but every time it has been done, the persons have complained and their property values have gone down. I'll give you a couple examples. So one of them is Mission Valley, San Diego. In the early 2000s, they expanded the Sharp Memorial Hospital. All right, and so when they did it, it was a hospital just like the one we have, a hospital for women. All right. And so it led to concerns from residents of increased traffic congestion, noise, and everything else. And so the homeowners, after it was built, because they still built it, homeowners in the area reported a decline in property values due to all of these disruptions. All right. Another one is in Northwest Denver, Colorado. The construction of the St. Anthony Hospital in the Sloan Lake neighborhood caused significant controversy. All right. Initially, before they built it, the residents feared that the hospital would bring noise, traffic, air pollution. They didn't think about that, leading to concerns about declining property value. All right. And some studies and report indicated a stagnation or slight decrease in property values in the immediate vicinity of the hospitals after its construction. The same thing in Somersville, Massachusetts. They had another hospital. It was the Somerville Hospital. Again, the residents opposed it, all right, because of similar concern of property values because of these things, all right? And guess what? Just like it, the property values in the immediate area had issues, just like the other properties, all right? Other parts of the cities, their property values even went up, but in the area by the hospital, it did not, all right? The reverse happened. Lower Manhattan, New York, right? The construction of the New York Presbyterian Lower Manhattan Hospital, the same thing. Residents raised concern in the surrounding areas, all right? The issues of noise pollution and everything else that was going on. And guess what? The hospital presence had a negative impact on the desirability for their properties. And of course, they had decreased property value. Again, the fifth and last one on our list, because I could go to about 10, was West Campus neighborhood in Tucson, Arizona. It was the same situation, the same complaints of the new hospital facility. And again, the property values went down. They said due to increased traffic and all of these other changes to the character of the neighborhood. And so for Dr. Darwin, I know he's watching or he has some person watching on his behalf. I can tell you that wherever this has happened, hospitals are put in commercial areas like they did with Princess Margaret Hospital. It's in a commercial area. All right, Doctors Hospital, commercial area. So even if you have a pandemic and you have lockdowns, commercial areas will be closed during the lockdown. All right, and you're not bringing people to crowd residential areas who may have some sickness that we don't understand. Doctors Hospital West, look at where it is. It's in a non-residential area. All right, so now you're taking that and putting that at Sanford Drive and Rock Crusher, and it doesn't make sense. And they're trying to justify
Lincoln.
all that land. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Listen, I found out that there is some property can you hear me? I found out that there is some property available behind the Princess Margaret Hospital where they can actually expand the hospital. So it'll be interesting to see can you hear me? Yes? Okay, it'll be interesting to see how much acres is available behind the Princess Margaret Hospital, because, and I wanted to know if that was there, why didn't they build that there? Why did they have to find this 55 acres of green space, and then you're only utilizing 2.5 acres, like you said. These are a lot of questions that we have. So I don't know why they didn't do that. Use that property on the Princess Margaret Hospital. I understand there's some acreage behind there that's available. I would have to do some investigation.
Yes, there is. No, you don't have to investigate, because we can show the Bain public right now. So I'm going to show you the acreage behind the Princess Margaret Hospital. Also, if persons would remember, when we talked about our healthcare plan before election, we actually talked about this, and I identified this area for the Bahamian public. I identified the area where subsequently the the embassy went, and I showed what could be done in that area. And even next to it, there's an area that had the Ministry of Education, but now I don't know if we can go next to too close to the embassy. But all of these areas were available for them to use, but they choose not to use it. So I'm going to pull this up for you right now. Let me pull this up. So this area you're looking at, this, for those looking, this is the Princess Margaret Hospital right here. So all of this is the Princess Margaret Hospital, as you can see in the writing. And behind it, all of this is green area to be used. Right?
They can highlight it.
All right, let me make it bigger. Make it bigger. And so this is the hospital. And so from here, I'm going to actually measure it for you.
You measure it. Where the hospital is.
And so all this green area, this the hospital right here. All right.
What?
And so I'm going to measure from here. This is the area where the 66 steps is. We're gonna go down to and if you look to the east, all of this green area right here. I'll clean it up when I'm finished. All of this here is available.
Oh, wow.
This is Grosvenor's Close. This is where they teach the teachers, the campus. So all of this area here, and this is the parking lot where persons don't park over there. So all of that area. So I'll go there and then come back across here. So this is in addition to what's already there. That's 11.15 acres.
Wow.
All right. They only need, they say they need 2.5. This is 11.15 acres, and you can see all this green space in the back here.
Well, Lincoln, that may be enough for our health city. As a matter of fact, Mr. Bain, there is a U.S. Consulting group called the Beck Group.
Yes.
It is my understanding that they consulted with both parties, and their plan was to stay on that site and build different towers on that site in phases, about 5 or 6 phases.
Thank you.
So it was suggested to both parties. But like you said, I'm not sure why the PLP is putting this specialty hospital off-site. Keeping in mind, remember now, some of the complaints were the logistics. You have a staffing problem now at the Princess Margaret Hospital with nurses and doctors. Now you're going to have to staff someplace with duplication because now you have another facility. And some of these doctors and nurses are going to have to travel from the PMH during high traffic hour trying to get to this next hospital. So a lot of the physicians and nurses, they were complaining about the logistics of having another facility off-site. Because I can honestly say the vision that myself, I have as the Shadow Minister of Health and the coalition, we would like to have a health city where all of these can be in one location. As a matter of fact, even where Sandilands is, I would like to bring Sandilands over to the health city area and incorporate the mental health component. They should not be all the way out east. Our plan and our vision. So again, I am not sure why the government is so hell-bent on putting this specialty hospital by Saunders Beach, knowing all of the logistical problems that can occur, and you're not really servicing the sick people anyway. And was a feasibility study done? That's what I want to know. And two, what about profiling? Did they profile the patients who are going to use this facility? No, these are questions that I have. So,
And the last,
yes, go ahead.
The last thing I want us to discuss, Maria, before we open the phone lines.
So while you're doing something, I just want to say that the morale is low presently. Okay, you can go ahead. All right, okay. So,
all right, I think he was saying
Lincoln,
that we was breaking up.
while they're calling in, I was going to say that the morale, the morale is low at the hospital. The nurses are not happy. A lot of the physicians are not happy. As a matter of fact, I spoke to someone today, and one of their consultant physicians are resigning. They resigned, I think yesterday. They resigned, and so they're leaving slowly. I've spoken to professional, technicians and doctors in the Miami and in the U.S., and a lot of them said they will come home only if we get a state-of-the-art hospital, comprehensive hospital. Then they cannot work under those conditions. And another thing, I have so much to say. Another thing is, I know of some Bahamian people who call me up and say they are going to the Cayman to have their surgery done. So the Cayman is now is into medical tourism. The Cayman is making more money than Nassau is. And the Bahamians are leaving Nassau, going to the Cayman to have their surgery done because it's all packaged in one nice parcel. Now, even though they have to pay, it's less expensive than the US. But we can't even offer that services here. So, I mean, our people are running away. So I don't know what's going to happen because, Maria, let me say this. You were talking about 3 years. 3 years to build a specialty hospital for women to have babies. It's not to treat our patients with dialysis. It's not to treat our cancer patients. Is not to treat people who need emergency surgeries. Right now, there's a long waiting list for surgeries to take place at our hospital. That is unnecessary. Listen, Bahamian people, we need a comprehensive general hospital. I don't have a problem with specialty hospitals because our vision is to have all of these specialty hospitals in one health city. You can have your maternity in one tower. You can have your rehabilitation. You can have your naturopathic and your holistic center in one tower. But next to those towers, it's got to be your general comprehensive hospital. We have to treat our sick people.
Just like Jackson Memorial Hospital, everything is there, including the mental health area. Everything is in one area.
Yes, we need everything in one location. I think it'll be better.
Go ahead, Maria.
That's the vision.
Go ahead, Maria.
Okay, Lincoln, I saw somebody put something up on this live and they text it. And they are asking if we don't want a new hospital in a different location. Well, let me tell the Bahamian people, we were asking for a new hospital in a different location, but we are saying the way that the New Day PLP went about it, they did not consult the important persons who are involved, the nurses, the doctors, the healthcare, and the civil leaders in this country. Yes, we need a new hospital at a different location.
So we want a new. I personally don't. Yes, we should. I don't personally think that we should have 2 hospitals on the northern side of the island. I think we could have one hospital closer, yet still outside of the urban areas, in the Gladstone Road area, where the majority of people live in the southern part of the island. And so I think that would make more sense. You still have 2 hospitals in the north. The ambulance is still going to take long to get to you, and it's an issue. Something else I want to touch on while you were talking about the staffing. It's so interesting that they could bring these foreign nurses, because I heard Dr. Davil talking about the foreign nurses that they're going to bring from all these different places, Africa and all over the Caribbean, etc., to come and work for us. But what they do when they bring these foreign nurses is they give them their pay, the same pay as they give our nurses. They give them housing and other benefits, including retention bonuses. Well, finally, Bahamian nurses have argued for it, and now they're going to start getting some retention bonuses. But all these bonuses and extra benefits they give to these nurses, if they would just use that to give pay, better pay to the Bahamian nurses, then the Bahamian nurses would stay at home.
Yes.
When you calculate the amount of money they are giving to these Filipino nurses and all these other people, just don't give them. You're paying for their housing. You're paying for, if they got children, you're putting them in school and you're taking care of all these other amenities. Just pay the Bahamian nurses. Why is it a problem to pay Bahamian nurses what they deserve? If you would calculate what they're spending on these foreign nurses, they could pay the Bahamian nurses what nurses in the United States and Canada are paid. I guarantee you that. And so the last thing I wanted to touch on before. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, what I was saying is that we need a bigger budget for health. Health and education are the two, in my opinion, are the two biggest ministries that need attention. Right now, I was told that 80 to 87% of the health budget goes to personal emoluments and salaries and benefits.
I believe you.
Now, if that's the case, that only leaves 15% for operational cost. That is not enough. But there is an imbalance. So the government right away, it's under budgeted. So the question is, why would you take all that money to go traveling all over the world and you can't even adequately give a proper budget to your hospital? See, I could be honest, I may sound like I'm frustrated, but all of this is not adding up. This is not good management. Oh, I talked.
When you talked about the emoluments, etc., just that part right there.
Hello. I don't know. Maria, can you? Lincoln, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
You were talking about the emoluments and all that, the budget.
Ms. Daxon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We can hear you clearly.
Oh, okay. I was saying that 80 to 87% of the health budget goes towards salaries and benefits and personal, right? That leaves about 15% for operational, 15% for operational costs. Okay, so 15% for operation. Okay. Okay, and so therefore, 15% for operation costs is not enough. The healthcare budget, they're under budgeted. And I was saying that they're taking all of this money, traveling all over the world, and they're cheating health. And they also, I understand, they under budgeted education. I know we're not discussing that tonight, but those ministries, to me, are one of the two most important ministries in the Bahamas. We have to educate our people, and we must keep our people well. The health of a nation is the wealth of a nation. And how could you under budget health and education? I don't understand that. So, Lincoln, they need us to be in the, they need some new voices in the House of Assembly. We need to re-steer the ship and take it on another course, because where they're headed now, to me, it isn't going nowhere. It's the same thing over and over. They keep kicking the can down the road over and over and over. And we're still not getting that general hospital that we're looking for. That specialty hospital is not going to cut it.
All right. And so the last thing I want to say before
that's all I have to say about that.
And let persons call in. They're borrowing $290 million from the Chinese at 2%.
Mr. Bain, are you taking calls now?
It's in a minute. 2%
all right.
for 20 years. That means at the end of that, with delays and other fees, et cetera, we could pay back $500 million or more for this hospital. that still doesn't solve our problems. Why are we borrowing when we have our natural resources that we should benefit from? We have our carbon credits that we should benefit from. Why are we borrowing from them? I won't use our numbers that we've been giving out. This government, the Attorney General, just 3 weeks ago said that they're going to be collecting $900 million a year from the carbon credits. That's new money. That's not attached. Nothing is attached to that. There's nothing they need to do with that. That's new money that never existed. Why don't you take that $900 million and build a proper hospital paid for in cash? Why don't you do that? That is easy to do. Also, and that's their numbers, not mine.
Right.
Also, $900 million a year is what they're saying. And that number is nonsense. It's way more than that. They're saying that because they don't want Bahamians to benefit. But of course, we know that. $900 million. They estimated that it would cost about $500 million to give every Bahamian free health care. That was the budget that both CFAL and the Bahamian government, etc., that they put together. All right. The high number was about 700 million, but the real number was about 500 million for all of us to get full catastrophic health care free of charge. If you're getting $900 million, can't you take 500 million of that and give all of us free, proper health care? The first year you build a hospital with the 900 million. The next year you give us free health care with a proper operations budget, pay our staff properly, etc. You are saying you have the money. It's not that you don't have the money, it's that y'all don't know what to do with it, or y'all are so busy making up schemes to steal it. That's the problem. All right, we need new vision to deal with what's going on. So based on your $900 million, we could have free health care and we could have new hospitals all over the country. Go ahead, Dr. McIver.
Oh, yeah, and Lincoln, don't forget now, when he was asked about where is the revenue coming from to pay for this loan, well, he admitted that if you borrow, the taxes have to be raised in order to pay it back. He did admit to that. So, Bahamian people, your taxes are going up. And if you're not delivering, if you're not having babies, it sounds like you're going to benefit too much. But
Maria
now,
wants to say something. Go ahead, Maria.
Go ahead, Maria. Go ahead, Maria.
Okay. Good night, my fellow Bahamians. I have several doctor friends and nurses that left this country. And one of them WhatsApped me just now and tell me to tell the New Day PLP government the trauma center is needed urgently. And also, we should have mass training starting from the primary school, the junior high, and the senior high. We need to go in there, pick out the students, and have a pathway for them for another 20 years. We need to get our Bahamians to deal with this health issue in this country. They are also saying that we need a chatting system, an electronic chatting system. So, Dr. McIver, I agree with you. And this person is WhatsApping me and telling me all kind of information that is needed in this hospital. And they're saying that this specialty hospital is not priority. They should make it a general hospital.
Yeah, hold the line, caller.
See? This hospital could be in place, but they need another hospital, which is a general hospital with more than 200 beds. We need more beds in this country. We got the money.
Right. Listen. Boy.
But the government is not allocating the monies towards the healthcare system. Mr. Brave Davis could travel, and then he have $74 million aside for consultants for what? Unacceptable.
Yeah.
All right, I got to take a call. Let's go to the phone lines. Let me take a caller.
Maria.
Caller, good afternoon. You're live.
Maria.
Good night, Mr. Bain.
Go ahead, caller.
Good night, Mr. Bain. Good night, Ms. Daxon. Good night, Ms. McIver.
Good night.
Great show you guys doing tonight, man. I totally agree with Maria saying we have to make a pathway for our young ladies instead of them getting pregnant and being wild.
Maria, that's a good question. Maria,
get them from in the 11th,
okay.
10th grade, start training them, take them to the Bahamas college, train them, and let them be able to take care of us.
Yes.
And another thing is, we do need a hospital, but we also need a hospital that works. Our hospital does not work. And that's why so much people are dying, and it's like, it's not working because the persons who are in charge of the hospital making it that it don't work. Because if you look around, there's so much medical centers opening up, popping up here and there.
Yes.
You guys see that? There's so much medical centers popping up, and they're making millions.
Yeah.
But our hospital, you can't go there, and you're not successful at anything.
My brother, I will tell you this. There's a mafia in this country going on as it relates to healthcare. And the reason that the persons who were developing the Cayman Health City wanted to come here to Freeport first. And it is alleged that it was blocked by Dr. Dwayne Sands, all right?
Right.
Who was in power at the time, all right? And so he didn't want it to come here because he would be losing money. And a lot of the doctors here feel that they would lose money. And so they want you to have your little your government clinic, but they don't want that to be sufficient to force you to have to pay to come to them. All right? You're not going to want to deal with that. So let's keep that bad so that that patients will say, I'm not going there. Let me pay to go elsewhere. You see, and they can make their money elsewhere. And so this is a mafia type situation. I was in the medical supplies business, and I know how this whole thing operates. All right. And so they are intentionally keeping. It needs to be investigated. Yes, it will be. Don't worry about that. Because change is here.
If you guys notice now, and it should be shameful on the ministers, because if you were in charge of the hospital and you have a medical condition, you have to jump on the plane to go away to seek help.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then another thing that hurts me is that if you don't have no money in this country, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way. I can jump off a plane in the US and don't have no money and go to any hospital and I'll get the best care ever.
Yeah. Any hospital.
We really need to fix this issue, man. The government's like our government making sure these organizations fail. So the private can be successful.
Yep. Thanks for your call, man. Oops, sorry. I touched the button too quick. I didn't mean to hang up on you just now. But thanks for your call, man. I think he is right, Maria and Dr. McIver. It almost seems to be some kind of cartel that's going on as it relates to healthcare in this country.
Lincoln?
Go ahead. I think, Dr. McIver, I think your feed is behind. So probably if you go out and come back in, that may help you because your internet is bad again. Let me go to the phone lines. Call you live.
Hey, how you doing?
Awesome, man. Go ahead.
Okay, I was listening to the article just now, and he's absolutely right. A lot of behemoths are dying because, like I said this before, on a talk show you were at, there's a doctor. I can't give his name out, but he did a
you want me to?
One of my parents. He said that in the basement of Princess Margaret Hospital, to do the brain aneurysm is down. It costs $50,000 to get the part. He asked them, why do I have to go to a doctor's hospital to do this surgery when y'all have the equipment right down in the basement?
Hold the line. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they have the machine in the basement. So he said he did his little digging up because he was concerned that so many people in the Bahamas was dying from brain aneurysm. He's trying to figure out why why Princess Margaret Hospital can't do the same thing. He did his little research, and he said, listen to me. I tell you this information because I cried. It hurt me. And only because you digging up and you asking me questions, I'm going to tell you this. A lot of people in doctors' hospital are connected with the politicians. Now, he's well known now because he's a big surgeon, and only one surgeon we have in our country, and he's a doctor's, and as a brain surgeon. So I'm like, you mean to tell me only you and one other, that's the only people? He said, yeah, and it goes deeper. Come to find out, somebody in the Bahamas killed his father. So the son took over doctor's hospital. That's why the fees is so high for Bahamians. So it's like a negotiation, like, hey, don't have that equipment there. If they want to survive, they have to come to us, because me and him put 1 and 2 together. I'm like, okay, this is a revenge thing, because somebody back in the day killed his father. That's the reason why Bahamians have to charge so much to get in there. I mean,
I'm gonna have to plug in allegedly there, because you kind of identified someone.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to put allegedly in there, because we can't confirm what you're saying.
Yeah. So, so he's very concerned that all the equipment's in the basement. So it's like, why are y'all building a new hospital when you just have to buy new parts for the hospital?
Yeah.
You know.
But thanks for your call, man. I appreciate it.
All right.
Let me take another caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. You're live.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Bain, Miss Daxon, and Miss McIver.
Good night.
We're awesome.
Fine.
Listen to me. Let me just say this. And quickly, the reason why, now, Daxon Road is an ideal spot to put a multi-hostel for the Bahamian people, Daxon Road. But let me tell you why this is my belief, and I believe this very strongly. The reason why they went out east to build this high sophisticated clinic, not a hospital, that will only be for the rich in this country. Yeah. The poor, that's why they are separating it. The poor will still deal with where Princess Margaret Hospital is. That hospital will be built just for certain set of people in this country. That is why they're separating that. Now, let me just say this. Like the brother has said, I have doctor friends. It is a mafia thing when it comes to doctor. It's like a large thing. I have friends who are doctors with specialties, and guess what happened, my brothers and sisters? They cannot come here to the Bahamas because they were told there are 5 doctors who control the whole health system in this country. And they told them, if they come to work here, they have to work for them and go through them. And that is why they are not coming to the Bahamas. Listen, you will die like a dog.
Yeah.
My Bahamian people, for God's sake,
this whole line,
please, the last opportunity for us to have a very professional health system, an educational system, and so that we as Bahamians can benefit and have and try to live as long as we can through a good health system. But they don't want that. 5 doctors in this country run the whole health system. And if you're not coming here to work under them and work with them, you can't come.
All right, thank you for your call, man.
What?
Go ahead, caller, you're live.
I want to say that both consecutive governments have really don't have the Bahamian people at heart. And why I say this? I think you gave a number back just a minute ago saying that there's 13,000 new babies per year.
No.
I really want to know
5 to 6,000. 5 to 6,000.
6,000?
5 to 6,
5
yeah.
to 6,000. Question is, how many out of that 5,000 to 6,000 are Bahamians? That's all I have to say. Thank you. Have a good night.
A vast minority. Thank you, man. A vast minority.
Lincoln.
Okay, we have another call coming in. Good afternoon, caller. Good evening, caller. You're live.
How you doing, Mr. Bain? How you doing, sir?
I'm awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm here to East Avenue. The electricity being on from 3 p.m.
What?
Yeah, man. It's really bad here. And guess what? The next corner away from us covering on. I don't know what's going on.
Wow. Wow. All over the place, you know, this is happening. We are a failed state and we have to fix this. Whenever it's something they can make money from, they hurt the Bahamian people, they starve us out. And so that's why they're not going to build a proper health facility, because that's going to take money out of some people's pockets. And that's the real reason that this real hospital is not going to be built. They're going to take another 4 or 5 years with this one. And then it's going to take another 5, 6 years for them to start one next, a real hospital, and they're going to drag their foot. Next thing we know, 10, 20 years pass, and all of us who listen to this right now most of us might be dead and gone. That's what we living with. But thanks for your call, man. You know, he brought up electricity just now, you know, talking about this failed state. I studied computer science in university. And business. And one of the things that I had to study was financial engineering. And financial engineering is a way that you can create products to package things for financial centers, for insurance companies, et cetera, And as a computer scientist, that's something that you have to learn how to do. And I had to study for business too. And what we need to do is we need to have a financial engineering program, particularly hire persons in that field to be able to create a product from our carbon credits for specifically raising funds for these specific areas. So if you understand financial engineering is what they did that actually it's controversial because they packaged loans and sold them to different institutions. So banks would give out loans, they mismanaged it. But we can package our carbon credits, our blue bonds, and all of these things into a financial product that can actually be used to cover all of the different issues we have. We just need a 21st century thinking government to be able to do these things. And so I've already drawn up a plan, a financially engineered plan for raising money to give all of us free healthcare, to give all of us free electricity. Because with carbon credits, it's easier to get it if you're using it for something that's going to give you, that's going to reduce the carbon in the earth. So for electricity, if we're going to solar, then we can easily financial engineer a product that other countries can buy into, and we can use it to create a solar field in Inago that can sell solar to the lines off the hook. We got people waiting on both lines. In Inago that can sell to electricity to Haiti, to Turks and Caicos, to Jamaica. We can put it in Western Andres that can sell electricity to Cuba. We can put it in Grand Bahama, and they can sell electricity cheaper to the southern Florida, especially West Palm, where they've had electricity issues. But we just need a different kind of thinking. And so with this kind of thinking, we're going to use our natural resources, our carbon credits, etc., to be able to benefit from. Yeah. Let me just go to the phone lines. Good evening, you're live.
Good on, everybody. How are you guys doing?
Line one second. Get to you in a minute.
I would just,
we're doing well.
The PLP, just to stop being crack conk. They're not just conk. Stop being crack conk. Yeah. Look at it. Under Hubert Minnis, we had a problem. We had so many people going to the hospital. It was overbearing to the hospital that they couldn't contain the capacity of people, sick people during the pandemic. And this is almost 4 years now going into him being the prime minister. And you can tell me 4 years later, you just thinking about a hospital.
They're still talking about what they're going to do. Like, why are you still talking about what you're going to do?
And you have PLPs that will still sit there and vote for this man. They got to be crack conk. Oh, and by the way, our water was off from 5 o'clock this morning and practically still is off.
Wow.
So every day. Yes. Anyway, y'all have a good night.
All right, enjoy your failed state. See you later. Not a caller, ladies. Good evening, you're live.
Good night, my brethren.
How you doing?
Good night, my deputy. And
Good night. Good night. Hello.
Good night.
Listen here. I'm sitting here in Jambo Lights. First on Main Road. Blackout. The corner behind us, lights on. The corner, my cousin Francis, light on. Straight on to the curve, light on. But from the curve, go back to the road. Darkness. I need some light because I didn't come off the plantation all day. Now I try to get inside the house to go bathe and get ready for work for tomorrow. And I can't get inside because it is too dark.
Wow.
Oh, that's so sad. It's sad. That is sad.
Mom, I don't know if you were following me before the
Miss,
election,
I feel your pain. I can tell you, I feel your pain.
I warned all the Bahamian people, if you want more of what you've been getting, then vote for the PLP or FNM. All right? So now that persons have voted for them, then they have to take what they get. But they will have another chance, probably as soon as next year, for them to do differently. There are solutions. All of our problems that we're having in this country, Mom, is because of corruption, nothing else. The hospital isn't being built because of corruption. Those persons that were in that trailer after Dorian, that was corruption. They were holding up on them because then the insurance companies would have had to pay. All right? Some people weren't identified, and it was dragged on to save money because of the insurance companies. You all wake up. All right? The insurance man traveling all around with Brave right now. All right? Every problem that we're having is corruption. BEC, the problem is corruption. The FNM and PLP are benefiting from the oil and everything that's being sold to us, from the machines that are breaking down. They're selling them the parts. And so the shipping of the oil from one island to the next, they are making money from our sufferation. And so if you want to continue with the sufferation and keep them rich, and then whenever election comes around, you say, oh, these third parties, they broke. I voted for the rich people. The rich people are rich because of your sufferation. They are making you suffer to make themselves rich. And this is why you have to wake up. You don't get crown land because they make money selling crown land to you with a little house on it and calling it low-cost home, but it's $500,000 you're going to pay at the end of your term if you add up all of your payments. Wake up, Bahamas. But I'm so sorry you have to be going through this, but it ain't long now.
Mr. Ben, COI to the world. You hear me? Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Ladies, I think that people are waking up. We have to say something about this hospital and the situation that's going on. This is a cartel. And that is what I believe. And that's why it's been dragging on for all these years. There's no way that our government could be so incompetent that they can't build one hospital in 71 years. It is impossible.
Yeah.
All of these excuses about we can't build it on this land. Bahama build on the beach. What you mean you can't build it on on right. Atlantis built on the beach. They build on soft limestone rock. Which means you can't build on glass road. They're making excuses. They're instead of paying the nurses, they're paying foreigners because they don't want to empower Bahamians. And lastly, the nurses called me this week. They are now telling the nurses they have to pay for their own gowns, the yellow thing they wear over their uniform. They got to pay for their own they got to pay for their own cover protective cap and their foot covers. They got to pay for their own.
Now, Lincoln, you got to be joking. Hello?
Serious.
You gotta be joking. Do you know someone was in the hospital? Somebody went in the hospital this weekend. You know what they said? They said all the people in the emergency room on the beds, Not one of them had a cover over them. They were just naked, no cover, just their clothes. And I couldn't believe it. I say, what is going on? Jeez. Oh my God.
Wow.
And
That is
another
so
thing too, Lincoln. I remember Dr. Darvel saying, "Oh, don't worry. Now this new hospital, this specialty hospital, is going to be. We're making provisions for it to be maintained," as if he's acknowledging that the other one is not being maintained. So,
Yes,
I think I say talk is cheap. You could say anything, because if you can't maintain one now, how are you going to maintain the other one? I mean, boy, this isn't adding up for me. I could be honest.
Let's go to the phone lines. Good evening, you're live.
Yes, Mr. Bain, how are you, sir?
I'm awesome.
Good night to your panelists.
Go ahead.
Good night.
Man, I hear everybody talking about Warren, $290 million to build a hospital. I wonder if you all remember Hubert Alexander Minnis, the former prime minister, stand on the floor of Parliament and said that he was going to take $2 billion out of the sovereign wealth fund to go into private partnership to build airport and road. Why the hell we can't use that same money to build a hospital?
Thank you.
These are gangsters, you know.
Yeah.
Is it?
But let me say this to you tonight, this man. If you said me was to become the prime minister of this country, I would put all these prime ministers in jail, you know. For treason.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
See, Bahamian people are so stupid and ignorant, to be honest with you. Because I have some of them in my family. All they think about is the PLP. But oh, the PLP did this to my mommy and my daddy. Man, look here. I want you to know, Mr. Bain.
Lincoln, let him know that a lot of people are voting for some people are voting for the PLP because they're getting their bread buttered still. Yeah. But if you're looking at it objectively, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The biggest thing we hate in this country as a Bahamian people, we are afraid of change. Change is good. 90% of the time, change is good.
Yeah.
Because if you look at 1992, if we had continued under Lyndon Oscar Pillen, where we have been, Hubert made some changes, but then Hubert didn't start doing a bunch of you-know-what again.
Yeah.
So we have to change again. And the solution to our problem in this country is to get rid of the PLP and the FNF. Thank
you, man. Appreciate your call.
Thank you.
I want to say this while I remember. I got a call. I got a call from someone in the U.S. yesterday who was distraught about their father being in the hospital, the PMH, for 3 days, sitting up and not getting attention, and they don't know what's going on with him. For 3 days, seated, and he's sick. And they were desperate. And what was most annoying about that call was that this person is a PLP general who was in the hospital for 3 days, sitting up, and in need of help. And their family is desperately trying to get some help, so that they could get served. And his name is Elon Anderson. And I want to send this message to Philip Brave Davis and Fred Mitchell. That's your guy. I was in the hospital, sitting up in A&E, and your supporters called me to ask me to try to get some help for him. And what I did was I forwarded Fred Mitchell's number and Philip Brave Davis' number to them. And I told them that I don't care how people vote. We help everybody. But if this guy is up and down behind Brave Davis all the time, at least he could look to see how he could help his people. But this is bigger than just helping your people. All of the Bahamian people are suffering because of the corruption of the medical service. Hubert Alexander Ingram's mother died sitting in A&E waiting to be served. I will never forget that. She had chest pains. She was sitting in A&E. She had a heart attack, and they did not see her, and she died. That was the prime minister of the nation. And the only change they made was, if you come with chest pain, they'll see you right away from now on. That's the only change they made as it relates to that. But come on, man.
And Lincoln, while you're on the subject, I understand the critical care block and the trauma bay. I think 190 million was budgeted for that. Do you know that area has not been completed yet? And I still don't know why, Dr. Darvel, those have not completed it. So I don't know where the money went. But Trauma Bay and that block is not completed. Wires are still hanging from the ceiling. I don't understand.
It's all corruption. The only problem with our country is corruption. Is what Maria hits on every single day without tiring. And Maria, I want to ask you to keep your hand on the plow. Keep doing what you have to do. Stay on the wall. We have to educate the Bahamian people that the only issue we have in this country is corruption. There's no other issue. There's not an immigration problem. There's a corruption problem. The politicians are making money from this. And now we see them with this false action as if they're breaking down, shutting down. They're breaking down a couple houses, then going away.
Yes.
You know, they're not deporting anybody. They made money selling papers to all these people, false papers to all these people. We have to wake up. All right? And so we got about 3 more minutes left. I want to any last words y'all want to say about this hospital and what's going on? I'll start with you, Maria.
Yes. We need this new day PLP government to table in the people's house who they purchasing this land from to build this new hospital, who are all the contractors that are going to be involved, and how much each one of these persons are being paid. Corruption, we need to stamp out the corruption. We need accountability, transparency, and good governance. And I want this new day PLP government to get a list of all those machines that are not working at that hospital and have them repair forthwith. Cut the private travel budget. Cut all of this contracts they're giving out. Go and take care of our sick people in this Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Go ahead, Dr. McIver.
Well, I just want to tell the Bahamian people that, listen, we are a rich nation and God has blessed us with resources. When you look at Dubai, what they have done in 50 years, and we had our 50th anniversary not too long ago. Look what they have done with their development. Why can't we do the same? I know I always like to emulate persons who are doing better than I am. Why can't we as a country look to another country who have been there, have done that, and used their natural resources? Why can't we do that? So I say to my Bahamian people, this coalition is going to be the hope for you. We need a renewal of hope for our people. And I just want you to know that change is coming, okay? Just hang in there. Change will be here. And Mr. Bain, I want to thank you for having me as your co-host tonight, along with Ms. Daxon. Thank you.
Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, as a bonus, because you decided to stay with us, I want to show you some of the research I've been doing. You know, I heard BC say that they need 25 megawatts of solar in order for blackouts to stop right now. And one of their generators that does this amount is down. And so that's where they're having a problem. So I did some research. And from this, I'm showing you on the screen, it says the cost of building a 25 megawatt solar power plant, it can vary, of course, from $1 to $1 million to $2 million per megawatt. So that's $25 to $50 million. All right. And the cost could be lower or higher because of different things. And that includes the cost of acquiring the land and all of these other stuff. That's not just buying solar panels, etc. So here, they have some factors that deal with the cost. But I want to show you examples of this happening right now. All right, so here are some projects right now. This is a couple of projects that I identified. The Dama Solar Power Plant in India. All right, that's 25 megawatts, and that only costs $33 million in order to do. And so we could do that. $33 million. That's like one trip for Brave Davis and Fred Mitchell. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but this isn't far off. $33 million. All right, and they have power. All right, the Grusa solar project in Australia, 20 megawatt project. They spent $40 million on that. All right, and again, it was done, and so it integrates both as hybrid with solar and generators. We have another project here, the Seville Solar Park in Seville, Spain, 30 megawatts. All right, $45 million. That's small money compared to what these guys are spending, and it could give us free power for the sun. All right, no maintenance, no heavy maintenance, and all this kind of stuff. See, this is all they need, but they won't do this. There's another one here, the solar plant in Chile, 25 megawatts, $37 million. That's it. These guys have zero vision, and we keep voting for them, thinking that these guys are somehow experienced and professional, et cetera, et cetera. If you've been governing a country for over 70 years and you can't get the electricity straight, you can't get your healthcare straight, your education straight, they're failing. What's the point of all of their degrees and experience? And we got to get good candidates, and we need someone who worked H&R Block and these skilled people and this and that, and they've been failing you. Wake up. We need people willing to put the professionals in place to do the things that Bahamians need. All right. So with this hospital, I am adamantly opposed to this hospital, to the location, and to the fact that they are building this clinic and calling it a hospital, and it will not benefit the Bahamian people. That's going to be building for another 5 years, most likely, and they're never going to get to it. It is another failed promise of the Progressive Liberal Party, and it is a sham. And so let's wake up. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. This has been an epic one. Looking forward to doing more just like this. And for everyone watching this is still on here, go on our website and look for the think tank. The think tank is where we are going to start having meetings starting on June 5th. We're going to start having meetings. It's going to be virtual meetings, just like this, where you can take part in the vision for the New Bahamas. And so go on there, and whatever areas you are interested in, it doesn't have to be one area, whatever areas you're interested in, whether it's education, healthcare, there's some other stuff there's not just with the ministries, it's different things that we want to do to take this country to the next level. Sanitation. What can we do differently with sanitation? We have all these rats all over the place. There are countries that have solved that problem. They have their sanitation that goes from your house. There's a tube with air that sucks it straight to wherever the garbage is going to be recycled or dealt with. From your house, just like you have water coming to every house, the garbage goes in Europe from your house. In Disney World, they do it. It goes from every shop and stall straight to wherever it's going to be disposed of. It can be done. We just have to think sharp. So in Europe, you go in certain countries, and Fred Mitchell and Brave Davis and them, they travel to these countries and they see, hold on, no rats, no garbage on the sidewalk, none of this stuff, but they don't come back with these same ideas, do they? What are they spending our money and traveling for? There's so many different,
Before you leave, Fred Mitchell went to school in England and also United States of America. So he knows better.
Just like me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He knows better. Now he needs to do better. We need to bring the vision that we have experienced. All three of us are educated. The three of us know the difference of how things function in these other countries that work and how they don't function in our country.
And Lincoln, the last thing I'll say is that we just need more honesty in government. Do you realize that without honesty, that's where corruption comes from? And that is what we're plagued with. And until we get rid of that, we'll always be a failed state or have problems.
Yes. And so I said it to say, ladies and gentlemen, go to our website and go to the menu, look for the think tank, and let's volunteer. We're going to be calling meetings where you're going to hear some of of what we're putting forward, and you're going to be able to contribute also. And we're doing a document called Vision 2030. I see people trying to call in, but we're not taking any more calls. We're done for the day. We're going to do Vision 2030. That's we're going to put in an iconic book called the Black Book, that is going to be the book that identifies the future of the Bahamas, taking the Bahamas from a developing nation to a developed nation. And we have everything we need to do it. And we're going to bring all of our sons and daughters from the diaspora around the world to come back and build this new Bahamas. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. I appreciate you. I love you. We got a lot of work to do. Let's get on the ground and let's take this country back. All right. So I'm going to leave you, ladies and gentlemen, with a couple videos that really outline what other people are doing and what we should be doing. So
all right.
Wake up and take our country to the next level. See you next time.
Good night.
Good night.
What happened in Dubai with the citizens?
Monarchy, and monarchy take care of their people and make sure that they're paid $2,000 per family, maybe $3,000. And life is cheaper there. Life is cheaper, but all the Dubai citizens are paid, very paid.
From who?
From the monarch, from the king.
From the king?
Yeah, from the king.
Wow.
Money comes in through the government. The government distributes the money to the people. And there are no poor people. They're like only
Dubai,
poor people in
you
Dubai
cannot be
are
poor.
those that came
No
from
poor
another
in
country.
Dubai.
No poor in Dubai.
It's like Kuwait. They get money, like almost like American Indian the casinos. The money goes out to the people. Okay? And the only poor people in Dubai or Kuwait are those who come from other countries to work for the citizens that are there.
Wow.
And in Israel, if you're a citizen, you get a lot of $10,000 and $50,000, but you have to wait per person.
Wow. Bahamas. It's happening around the world.
You know, a lot of people wonder how Dubai became a very big, famous and rich city.
You see, if you're comparing with Nigeria, listen to this. Nigeria has oil before than Dubai. It's a history. They are more rich than us. They have agriculture, they have mining, they have everything, you name it, they have it. Am I right or wrong? When you have a true leadership, which we have nothing, but we have everything because we have the right leadership. That's the only thing you need, a right leader for your country, not corruption. That's what brings your country at the top. You don't need anything. We want water, we don't have agriculture, we don't have mining.
That's quite interesting.
And that's Sheikh Mohammed. Number one, he doesn't know number two, he needs only number one. He says, I don't know, there's no number two in my book. Only number one.
I hear he doesn't ride in a convoy.
And it's Bahamians unprepared to stand up and fight and defend their own Bahamas, that you don't deserve to have it.
Now let that sink in. Come on. Change ain't coming, change is here. You can hear it, you can feel it in the air. All politicians, put your hands in the air. Just a stick up, let me make myself clear. I'm a grown man talking, so you know what to do. No one's leaving till we figure out the truth. Why you laughing? This ain't nothing funny. So no one gets to go home till we figure out this money. Change ain't coming, change is here. They say change ain't coming, but change is here. They say change ain't coming, but change is here. They say change ain't coming, nigga, change is here. Now if you ain't standing with us, then I know you against us. Bahamas, this ain't no time for us to be lukewarm. This is war, and we riding through the storm. Come on. Let's go, shalom to all my Hebrew brothers. To all my Muslim and Rastas, we need you, brother. Selassie, I know, I can't forget the Christians. Let's put our differences aside, cause this a bigger mission. See, they've been doing this for years, trying to separate us. Kinda trying to keep us down and never elevate us. Now it's time to praise the Lord, cause he's about to take us over to the promised land where we can celebrate us. I got to do it for my kids that ain't even born yet. So the minute that they born, they already gotta check that check. Gotta have that time to collect, so they won't know how it feels years they have that yoke around their neck, yeah. See, y'all been robbing my grandmother, my great-great-grandmother and grandfather. It's like y'all can't get enough. Y'all just keep eating and eating and giving us nothing but taxes. Y'all went even as far as to say that this country's in debt and we ain't got no money. When 9 times out of 10, everybody in this country's possibly a millionaire. It's time to wake up. Let's talk about natural resources, cause every time we bring it up, they say hold your horses. They say it ain't worth a thing, but it's worth a fortune. Meanwhile, they open up their businesses across the borders. Oh yes, we track their bank accounts across the waters. They say this country in debt, but they making millions. If we don't stop this now, they be up to billions. It's about to go down and I get the feeling we gotta cut a movie on these dirty villains. On this Lincoln Bain and his team came with information. It's like everything changed, everything went quiet. It's like so much facts and they can't deny it. They'd rather keep their mouths shut before they start a riot. Now look how they tryna just steal the oil. They don't wanna share with none of y'all. They been robbing us while we were sleeping. Send them to jail cause they failed, they committed treason. Change ain't coming. They say change ain't coming. The change is slow. They say change ain't coming. The change is slow. They say change ain't coming. No, the change is here. Listen, from Freeport to Nassau all the way to Nagua, there's no more time for us to sit back and be quiet. You understand? This is war. If they only knew who we were, if they only know who we are, they would know we are warriors. No retreat, no surrender. Just give us what you owe us. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. I feel this all the way to my ancestors. We are warriors. We only really want what's owed to us. You get it? Now free up.